Yeah. OnChain Revolution, you're not bullish enough. OnChain Revolution, you're not bullish enough. Every day we steady looking at the market, and we gon' tell you how to get started. Chain abstraction, fear and greed index, always looking at price action. Broke on advance, you don't even gotta mention. I swap it in the decks, you're not bullish enough. Traded in the segs, you ain't trenching enough. We do that market recap. Too much Bitcoin, gotta go to rehab. Shizzy and Yagobi. OnChain Revolution, network in the art. Every day we go live, baby, you know where we are. We mention all the networks and the crypto. Need some more liquidity. Flipping and trading is the recipe. Too many protocols to count. I get high and I'm never coming down. Number go up, then I'ma say peace. Yeah, you thought that I was gonna leave. Yeah, we just getting started, man. OnChain Revolution. Every day. Bring the beat back. Eyes everywhere, gotta be careful with volatile meme coins. You can get some bread if you round trip it, then you gon' regret. All this information in my head. EYOR, touch grass instead. Nobody really knows how it's gonna end up today. Somebody gotta tell you what's happening today. I don't let the money change me, no way. OnChain Revolution, here to stay. Yeah, say I'm Sage, man. Voodoo 2 on the way. Yeah. Nicky's. Yeah. OnChain Revolution. OnChain. OnChain Revolution, Bitcoin not an illusion. Market recaps and I do a roll call. You're not bullish in the vocal. Look at the price action, change. Yeah, send it to the deck. Sell it through the stack. Order knows the best. Too much Bitcoin, gotta go to read. If you end up bearish, gotta put the knee pad. Let me see the comments. Look at the fear and greed index. Bridge. Look at the chart.
Welcome back to OnChain Revolution. My name is Shizzy. On this channel, we cover the entire Bitcoin crypto ecosystems. What is up, guys? We have an amazing show for you guys today. We're live on the OnChain Hour, and this one is going to be absolutely awesome, guys, because as you can see, the Bitcoin price action is changing, in the words of my boy Sam Sage, who does our intro. But, guys, this is absolutely awesome. We're sitting at 106, just under 700. Really amazing to be where we're at right now, because yesterday, they were just chasing Mr. Win over on Hyperliquid, trying to liquidate him. And today we're kind of bouncing back from there. I feel like yesterday needed to happen. We can't really have people in the market like him, right? Because they're going to come and liquidate that type of person every single time. And it's kind of good for the space, honestly, because if that type of person is, really changing the way we do things here, right? Like who does 40 million at 40x, right? I mean, that's 40x lever. That's crazy. But those type of people will always get liquidated. That's why we kind of push smart strategies, investing in low cap coins, and just holding, right? That's kind of what we do here. We will engage, we will leverage, but you have to be smart with it. So we're going to put together a series on leverage, and that's going to be brought to you guys by Artura. We do have Artura on the show coming up today at 12 o'clock, so that's going to be fun. So if you guys do have any questions for Artura or a leverage trading platform like them, I can't wait to kind of hear their response to what James Wynn has been doing over the last couple of days, because I'm sure it's going to be like, don't be stupid, guys. But really excited for that later. Really amazing topics today. We're going to get into STRD, which is the newest IPO from MicroStrategy or Strategy. And what they're doing is absolutely nuts. We're going to get into that and a whole bunch of other stuff. And that's one thing about this time right now is it feels very bubbly. It feels like something is boiling. And I say that because there's so much news. It takes me now 15 minutes to find an entire show worth of news. Before, it would take me 2 hours. So there is a lot of stuff that is brewing right now. We're really excited to kind of jump right into it. So without further ado, bring our partner here, as always, Mr. Yagobi. What's up, buddy?
There we go. I knew it. I knew something was going to go wrong, but what's up?
What's up, man? How you doing today? How's everything? How you feeling, especially with this $2,000 Bitcoin move in the last 24 hours?
Well, it was kind of expected, right? Look,
Yeah.
I said on Friday that we were going to, is either going to be Friday or it's going to be Sunday, that we're going to get close to the 102, tag it, and then, kind of chop a little bit and then pick it back up next week. And, there it is. This is exactly what's kind of playing out. Yesterday actually was even better because what I said was I felt like, yeah, even though the indicators were showing a little chop to the downside, give us that second half of the day. We'll bounce back and bam, voila. It played perfectly, right? Got up to that 106 and kind of hung around there. And then today we're just back on track, guys. So, this is why I say, look, there are times where panicking, okay, I get it, right? 2022 FTX collapse, those kind of things. But this was not one of those moments. A lot of these catalyst indicators, the M2 money supply, maybe CPI and PPI, by the way, in the local kind of time frame, have been pretty darn good, right? And so there was nothing that said, hey, it's panic time, this thing's shooting down to like 80K. So I was like, okay, we'll pick it back up next week. And that's exactly what happened. I'm not right all the time, but when I am, I definitely boast about it.
Well, you're basically saying I was right. It was basically right, and anyone who doubts you can
Kick rocks.
touch rocks, kick rocks, touch them, kick them, whatever you want with them. But yeah, it's awesome. I'm glad you are, because you know what I mean. Like, you are right a lot of the times, right? And you don't get the credit for that. So definitely awesome to feel. Probably feels absolutely amazing. I can't imagine. But let's kind of get into today's topic here. Rune June or Rune Doom. Here's what we think. So let's kind of jump into what you're thinking right now, and I'll actually show my screen and kind of take a look at some of the runes right now. I think we're both really bullish on this ecosystem. We're both bullish on the runes and Bitcoin L1 assets and dog, really, right? Because the dog community is absolutely insane.
You said it perfectly. We get to, we have partners, you guys know that, obviously. And so we get the benefit of being able to see kind of some of these volumes and so, like, what the activity is like. And every partner that's involved with trading runes is telling us that volume is going up. It is increasing, right? Meaning that the interest is there. Starts with the ecosystem itself, the Bitcoin ecosystem. A lot of OGs, shout out to you guys, pat yourselves on the back. You've been here through the ups and downs. Were not nice, but you guys have, you made it through and you're here today. But yeah, so with this infrastructure that continually gets built out, I mean, how can you not be bullish, right? I mean, just so much support from completely different chains, from different scaling solutions, native Bitcoin layer 1 solutions. Everybody wants to build infrastructure for runes, and you still have your kind of haters. Some people do it for clout, some people do it for engagement, same thing, I guess. But they do it for that. Exactly. They know they're going to get a reaction out of you guys. So that's a bullish sign, in my opinion, because they know that, that will trigger a community. And so I say, hey, the runes community deserves the next 6 months, which we think is going to be bullish. So hopefully that comes. I think it will.
Yeah, 100%, dude. And when you see Bitcoin move even a little bit, you're seeing Dog up 4%, Gizmo up 25%, Billy up 4%. But then you see stuff like Pups down 8%, Mim down 4%, Liquidium down 5%. It's hard to get a feel why people are dumping some of these tokens unless they're getting into, dumping Pups to get in Dog. What do you think is happening here between like some of these secondary runes against Dog?
Look, we're not in this full on the gates are open yet. That's not what once that happens, you're gonna see like 1 or 2 red, and it'll be an off day for those, and that's okay. We've seen that in previous bullish cycles, so where like a lot are on fire and then one is off that day, but then that next day it picks right back up. Pups is like that. Pups and Billy don't typically run very hard at the same time. They have, but sometimes they take their time. Like some of these communities that have stuck around this long, have their have dips in both of those tokens into their bucket. So, sometimes there's just one group that's a little bit more on fire than the other. I think that's exactly what's happening right now is Dog is taking the lead again. And the ones that are green, they're not like Dog green. They're just kind of, up with a little bit of, everything else is red there in the top, 6 in terms of volume. But there will be a moment where they're all green together, maybe one off red. And you're like, what's wrong with that one? But then the next day it picks back up. Obviously, if it's consistent, there's something broken with it or something's wrong with the team or something's happening, but that's a different situation.
Yeah, 100%. I completely agree. What do you think about dog dominance, though? I was doing the math, and it's just off my personal math. It's about 81% dominance. Dog over everything else.
That's so
It's
wild.
pretty wild.
Dog is the Bitcoin of the runes, guys. And I know
Yeah.
that if Bugsy's listening to me, he's probably pulling his hair out right now because he absolutely thinks nothing should be compared to Bitcoin. But if you look at the dominance here, I mean, it really is leading the way, and it deservedly deservedly so. And the reason why is because look, the social dominance. The dog dominates other top meme coins in social dominance. And once the floodgates are open on dog, that's whenever we get to that 5 billion, 10 billion, possibly more. You got Kraken that's about to list. You got Slingshot that's about to open up. Kraken listing such a big deal on spot that, you know, OKX is already kind of, you know, I think they're reversing their stance a little bit on runes because maybe they were a little bit bearish, but after, you know, the announcement of dog, I think they were having some activity about dog. I wouldn't be surprised if OKX lists dog very quickly afterwards, and then we'll see if any of these big dogs, no pun intended, start to list. We're talking about the Binances, the Coinbase. Obviously, that's
Robinhood.
the final bosses, right? There, but
Yeah, no, 100%. What do you think happens when dog gets to a billion? Do you think maybe dominance starts to drop heavily, or do you think that dominance kind of grows?
I think once it crosses over a billion, it might slow down a little bit just because that was such a big
Yeah,
threshold and rites of passage that hasn't really, I don't consider it really crossing over, even though it touched on Mexi. I think it needs to get to like 1.2. Then we solidified it has crossed over $1 billion market cap. But I think at
yeah,
that point, people are going to get bullish on the billies, the pups, the mims, the bro bears, the even lower
yeah,
hanging fruit, right? The bro bears, the Gizmo's in between bro bear and Billy, and between kind of bro bear and pups, right? So Gizmo has its own idea. Pups is kind of the bottom of that first, in my opinion,
yeah,
opportunities of low hanging fruit. Then you go to another level. You're talking about base internet panda, psycho hamster, another low hanging fruit, but those are a little bit more risky because, you know, their communities aren't as apparent, but we know they exist. Will they come out of the woodwork strong? And Mr. Ian kind of falls into that same category of that third tier of bullishness for memes in the Runes ecosystem. But look, I think you know, there's people like Udi that a lot of people respect in terms of intelligence and what he knows about Bitcoin and how Bitcoin works. But I think he's just got this wrong. I think he has it wrong. There's a lot of investment going into making sure Runes, at least for this cycle, is successful.
yeah, 100%. I agree. But the only thing I don't agree with you, I just don't think dog's going to struggle after it gets to a penny, which is basically a little over 1
Yeah.
billion. I think it took, you know, let's just say 16 months to get to a billion, and I think it's going to take 16 days to get to 2 billion. I think
Yeah.
once it passes that threshold, it's going to be like price discovery, basically, for
Could.
dog.
Yeah, definitely could, because it's you know, uncharted territory, and it's like you
Mhm.
said, there's pent up demand at those price levels. But if it does pause, it's not going to be long. It's just going to be short to kind
Yeah,
of let some of these little guys kind of catch up a little bit, right? Billy needs to cross its all-time high of 155. Pups needs to cross its all-time high of 200 plus million. And so once that happens, if that scenario plays out, then I think like dog will kind of shoot up again. But maybe you're right. Maybe it doesn't even say, hey, no pit stop here. We're going to go to 2 and then maybe take a short pause, let some
yeah.
people catch up. We'll see.
Yeah, 100%. And to kind of hit on some of these pups, Billy, Gizmo, and Mim, I think that Bitcoin, even at 2 billion, I think the dog dominance drops to about 50%. And I say that because I think pups is going to grab, like, you know, a good market share, 400 million. You're going to see probably Mims around the same. Gizmo probably going to sit at 100 million. And then potentially Billy could potentially be back at its all-time high, if not double that. Could go to 300 million as well. So I do think what we do need dog to cross that $1 billion threshold before some of these other ones really get looked at, because you want people to say, oh, I missed dog, but what's the next one? And that's when they get into other stuff. But no one missed dog yet, because dog's super early still.
Yeah, I agree. There's going to be some people that say, what's the market cap? And they think that 400 million
Yeah,
is too much or whatever. But if it does truly get to 10, let's say it gets to 5 billion, then you're talking about a 10x. If it
yeah,
gets to 10 million, then you're talking about what? 20x from here at the 500 million mark. So that's still a pretty darn good gain, right?
yeah,
Obviously 10 billion is a lot, right? But in a bull market, that's when you're thinking, okay, will it catch stride in October, November, hitting like a you know, between 5 and 10 billion. We'll see. Those are big numbers. Those are big achievements. So we'll see.
Yeah, 100%. Looking forward to that. But XR has put out a tweet today. They say Bitcoin, while it's Rune's June. They said Lobo and Gizmo are up 200% in volume. Dog is still top dog in swaps. So Gizmo and Lobo have been up 200% on the swaps because there's actually liquidity for Gizmo and Lobo, and you're kind of seeing that happening right now. There's a lot of people who want to get cheap Gizmo and cheap Lobo, because Lobo is like I want to say like a third. I have it right here. So it is a $6 million coin, and Gizmo is an $8 million coin. So people are seeing a lot of opportunity with the coins that are like 8 million and 6 million, and even Bro Bear, which is 2 million. That is up 5% today. So Bro Bear, Lobo, and Gizmo are, besides Dog, a little bit of Billy, are the ones really kind of pushing here. I'm curious to see what happens to them. Do you see any of them, Gizmo, Lobo, and Bro Bear, actually maybe one day getting to $100 million market cap? There's a lot of opportunity there.
Yeah, I think Gizmo has the momentum. Bro Bear is a little bit different because I feel like there's some KOLs, or not even KOLs, but just people that have big presences, the kooks and stuff that back it. So are they going to stick with it? He's in and out with Bro Bear, so I feel like that's not consistent, right? So we'll see if that can really thrive. But I could see Bro Bear getting to that 30 to 50 million, and then Gizmo getting to that 70 to 100. But that's in a bullish environment for everything, right? That's Billy being at 500 million. That's Pups being at like between 5 and 700 million, and obviously Dog at that point's got to be past 2 billion. So
100%. Yeah, man. Let's see. Okay, let's jump into some off-chain news here. So the US money supply hits an all-time high of $21 trillion. So and I actually looked into this a little bit. Warren Buffett actually has $500 billion kind of sitting there. He's a part of this number. So the US money supply is the money sitting on the sidelines, money sitting in dollars, or money market funds and stuff like that, which is, or and bonds as well. So you're seeing $21.86 trillion just kind of sitting there in the US alone, and that is a big reason why the M2 money supply is growing. It is because a lot of people are going into cash right now, not just the money printing. So this is the chart look at this. This is the money supply just sitting in cash right now. It is at another all-time high, 21.86 trillion, which is causing this number to be also at a new all-time high. This is not the updated chart, but as of today, the global M2 money supply is at an all-time high again. And you're kind of seeing Bitcoin kind of follow this throughout this entire time, something we've been talking about for a long time. If you tune in daily, this is the number one chart that we are following right now until it breaks. But it has been awesome. It does look like we're, bouncing back up here, about right here right now. Waiting for Colin to put in a more updated one, and then kind of see this kind of push up here. Do we get this? Are we about to see this run within the next couple of days?
Oh, this is tough, right? Because even though I feel like we are kind of back to where we were, it doesn't mean that we won't chop a little bit. There has been some just bullish energy that sustained us to get back here. It's going to be, I think the rest of this week's going to be telling, right? I don't think it just jumps right back like right away. I think we kind of remember our previous high was 111, almost 112. So us ranging between 106 to 111, that's a pretty decent gap, right? For just a range, right? So we could range up and then pull back a little bit, and then like kind of do that once or twice, and then continue on to a new all-time high. Because we have so much time left, and if you think about 111, that's what, $9,000 away from that 120 mark, which would be kind of like that area where I say like it's that middle ground to where if we hit the all-time high, and right now we're just starting June off, so I could see some chop back and forth, and then the second half of June getting a little bit more bullish to kind of in the beginning of July maybe top off there with that pullback that happens then. I don't know, it's really hard, we can't tell the future, but we can kind of feel the sentiment, and sentiment right now is still okay. It's still pretty decent. Now if even more bullishness news comes out and stuff, and people are expecting these ETFs possibly in July, Is July the date that the ETFs for the alts, or is it
July
in?
15th is a big day. It's not like a full
Yeah,
on
yeah.
day,
So
but it's kind of
approval.
the day everyone's pointing to. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So it
So
could kind of play into that. So one thing I would be extremely shocked about is getting below 100K. I feel like, if we got below 100K, that would be shocking a little bit to me. Especially if we don't bounce right back above it, if we were to
yeah.
stay below it. So I'm feeling healthy, not crazy bullish yet, but we can kind of work our way back to where we were between 106 and 111. 109, hang out there for a little bit, let some of these runes catch up, bring their market caps up a little bit, and then get bullish maybe after next week or somewhere around there. I'll be okay with that.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that. But I just think there's a lot of catalysts that are coming. You have the I think it's the 12th and 13th of this month to get CPI and PPI. I think those numbers are going to come in a lot lower than expected. And then you have on the 17th and 18th, you have the Fed meeting. So that's two huge catalysts, in my opinion. That's going to send Bitcoin to all-time highs, both of them. So
Yeah.
I think the first one, you're going to see the Bitcoin at like 115, and then the Fed meeting, once they come out and they lower rates. But I think you're gonna get a build up into that point as well, because you're gonna see like poly markets, for instance, you're gonna see that number keep rising, and that number's gonna keep rising. It's never wrong, right? And if we can get like a higher number over there, and I got to check that because I don't know exactly what it is, but I do think we're gonna get a good rate cut, on the 17th.
A rate cut would be huge. And you have to remember, if some of these people that are intelligent are getting their projections right, which would, if you look back at the beginning of this year, be considered kind of conservative, is the 230 to 250 by end of year. We got a little catching up to do, right? So meaning that, like, I don't know, Gene Balajane, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, but she commented, or he commented that, it looks like it might have topped and retraced for the summer. Well, if that's the case, then we're going to have like $150,000 jump up in the Q4. I don't think so. I think if it happens, we get to like a certain level and we maintain this, like, even the pullback, if it pulls back to 110 after it hits 130, that's the low there. And then we work our way back to like 150, 170, and then Q4 brings us to that 250 or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, that's a scenario that played out in my head, speculative, but we got to figure if we do hit that 230 to 250, we got to get there somehow. And I just don't see a $150,000 month. I mean, it's possible, but it's too, I feel like that's too much of a big, I think it's going to take some of the summer getting there with a little retracement and then finishing off Q4, which can play into your thesis of Q1 of 2026.
Yeah. 100%. So I'm thinking here, look at this though. This is last summer. You saw the money supply just sideways, right? Not growing, and then you saw Bitcoin sideways. So, we've never seen something like that. Guys, you have to remember, this is all money on the sidelines. This is all money on the sidelines. This is triple where it was here almost. I mean, you're seeing, or at least, more than double what you're seeing. So this is a lot of money, and a lot of these guys are waiting for one thing. They're waiting for quantitative easing. If we get quantitative easing, a lot of this money is going to go to assets, and one of those assets are going to be Bitcoin. The other one's going to be gold, because they're hard money. You're going to see a lot of this money go into assets like Tesla, like Apple. So I feel like then this is going to drop drastically, and what's going to happen is Bitcoin's price is going to absolutely explode because of that. But you can't go back and say we're going to have a bearish summer when the money supply is this high. These guys don't like keeping cash for too long. They really enjoy putting that cash to work, and I think they're waiting for basically a pause in the Fed, basically selling bonds into the market, and a monetary easing policy that I think we're about to get, and I think it's going to be drastic, and I think it's going to be quick. But I feel like this number is going to drop insane. But what's going to happen is Bitcoin has a lot of time to catch up before that.
Absolutely, and I'm hoping that doesn't drop until, honestly, like the maybe Q1 of 2026, right? But look how true the money supply was going from January of 2025 to where we started to turn around in April. We felt that to a T. You know what I mean? Like, it hurt. Like, when we were going through that, we're just like, gosh, what's going on? This is supposed to be the bull run year, and all this stuff. So the money supply has been accurate. So why would you stop using it now. I'm gonna ride this thing up sentiment wise, and it's gonna play out in my opinion. If it breaks, it breaks, and then I'm just like, wow, you actually broke, and that I felt like that you had like less than a 80% chance of breaking or 90% chance of breaking because you've been so true this entire time. But people get so lost in the short-term sentiment, like last week, for example. It's over. We had someone in our comment in our show yesterday saying, "It's you guys are hilarious. It's not going to even get past 106." Bam! It's almost at 107 right now.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, man. It kind of reminds me of you just said there's like if he dies, he dies. Shout out to Rocky 4. But moving along here, Strategy launched a ticker on the stock market called STRD, a 10% yield preferred stock to raise funds without diluting MSTR. Cash will be used to buy more Bitcoin. Investors get yield, but no Bitcoin backing on price upside. Dividends aren't guaranteed. It's a risky bet on Sailor's strategy, not a safe income play. If Bitcoin drops, STRD holders don't auto lose, but dividends can be skipped. Payouts are in cash, not Bitcoin. No back pay if missed. It's a high yield bet on Sailor staying solvent. Price can rise if a demand for the 10% yield grows or Bitcoin booms, but upside is capped. No equity or BTC gains. STRD is an income-focused, not a moonshot play. So pretty nuts. Sailor has a new stock on the stock market, STRD. What are your thoughts on this?
I like it. I know that like it's dude, there's degen rolled inside of this, but I'll tell you why. It's because like it's wrapped with safe play. It's wrapped with safe play. The degen part is you can skip your dividends if there's no revenue profit made from the use of this going into Bitcoin, right? Obviously, as a Bitcoiner that doesn't really want to dabble in TradFi or whatever, this won't attract them. What this is going to attract is people that want more consistent, like a 10% yield. They think Bitcoin's going to get to $300 million. By the way, Tom Lee, shout out Tom Lee, been very accurate with Bitcoin's price prediction, called $3 million. I think he had a 3 to 5 year kind of forecast for that. But regardless, if that's the case, then there's going to be whales that go into this thinking that Bitcoin's going up to 3 million. How much is your dividend going to be at that point too? Like 10%, right? You get that always 10%. If it's a negative return, then you skip that dividend, but you don't skip, like, for example, let's say, like, is it dependent how much he like lost? So for example, like let's say he lost this one dividend payment cycle, and then the next one he's in the green, so you get that 10%. Yeah, I would do this all day.
Yeah.
Now,
so
I
it's
wouldn't
10%
do
for
a
the year. So
but
it's a percentage each month, right?
Yeah.
So that percentage
Passive
can be
income.
skipped. Yeah, exactly. But the crazy thing is Sailor keeps saying he's getting 60% yield. So, he's basically saying, I'll give you 10% of that 16. So he's pocketing 6% on this, on top of taking your money that you're buying this with, because you're paying him for this. And he's actually going to be buying Bitcoin.
Well, and stock shares, right? Because he's gonna leverage the stock shares. That's the whole point, right? Isn't it?
Yeah. Well, he created STR out of nowhere, right? So it's zero, and then he's giving it to you, so you're buying it off him, and then, so that money's going into his pocket, which his pocket always buys Bitcoin with it.
Yeah,
so
but
he's buying Bitcoin.
But there's still a stock value that's going to be posted by the New York Stock Exchange, right?
Yeah. It's going to be
so you'll have value to
supply
it.
and demand. Yeah. So it can go up if more people are like, damn, I want to get this 10%. You got to remember, bonds are like 4 to 6%. So people might be like, screw a bond, I'm going to get in this because I know that I trust Sailor. For whatever reason, but Sailor makes out like a bandit on this as long as this gets bought up. But let's just say it does get bought up. Let's just say people are just like, yeah, give me that 10% yield. And let's just say he never misses an STR payment, an STRD payment. Like, it's always there. Every month you get that 0.8% of whatever you have in there, right? Every month, like that could be
0.8 or 0.1.
Well, it's 12 months, so it's 10%, 12 months, 0.8.
Okay, gotcha. Per month. Okay.
So
that equals that.
Yeah. That's just kind of what I'm getting it from it. But yeah, I think this is absolutely.
I mean, you're bringing insane. A little bit of the degen to TradFi with this though. But we'll see if the SEC has any issue with it or not. That's the biggest thing. If they don't, look, if there was any coin to do it against, it's Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Now if you're listening to this, you know, do your research on this. I'm just kind of having fun with it because it is fun to talk about. You know, if you're looking at a passive consistent income, which everybody's looking for, how can I make passive income? How can I? This is an option, but you know,
Yeah, and there's no actual exposure to Bitcoin. Like that's one thing that's big with this. There's no actual exposure. So this is just it's just yield. It's basically what TradFi does with bond. This is basically a Bitcoin bond that you're buying.
yeah, and I mean, 10% is really great right now. I wonder if that gets adjusted over time, but
Good.
like if there's a hyper Bitcoinization, then you're talking about some crazy yield. Now, obviously, it depends on how much you put in, and then the
Yeah.
value of your stock as well, too. So
That's
you
the
could,
thing too.
when does it start? When does
Demand
it
goes up.
launch? It's already launched.
I'm not sure.
It says
It's about the
strategy
IPO.
launched.
Yeah,
Okay.
it could be launched already. So I don't know. But it's definitely something that's either it's in the market or it's going to be in the market. But it's going to be an IPO. You can basically get into this early if you want to, or not. And then yeah, I don't know.
Dude, I wonder if there's
sounds
gonna be
nuts.
an options product for this, dude. Oh my
There
god.
will be. I mean,
That-
there already probably is. Day one.
Oh my god. Just imagine. Like
Yeah.
I would take a 3-month option right now. A
Yeah.
call option
Well,
for this.
that's the thing. Now, if Bitcoin dips, you might see people be like, I don't trust Sailor to guarantee me my my dividend. So it's one of those things where it does depend on Bitcoin, but it doesn't, because you want Sailor to like.
Well, the good thing about options though, is that you have that time period before it
Yeah,
expires.
yeah,
So,
that's true.
you know.
Yeah, man. So last bit on this. But I'm really hoping Coinbase can start tokenizing stocks, and this might be something you might want to hold as a crypto asset in your wallet, because 10% yield, you might see a lot of DeFi built around this thing as well.
Yeah,
So,
you definitely could, dude. I mean, this is interesting. I like this, but I know it's the degen in me that likes it, but with also a little bit of kind of like, well, it could be passive and a little safe for that, you know.
yeah.
But listen, if you can make your initial back on the 10% yield after a year, then
Yeah.
like that's just house money.
Yeah. You can wrap up your yield and throw it back in, compounding interest. You know what I mean? Like
Well,
whenever you
then
get paid, you buy more.
that wouldn't be
And then
house money. But the thing
Yeah.
I would say though is that I don't think you would have to worry that the stock would ever go to zero. That's the thing. Even if you did miss because it was a poor, month or two for Bitcoin, that value of it's not going to go to zero. And that I
Well,
think to
yeah.
me is like a safe kind of play.
Yeah.
But we don't know. This is new.
Yeah. New. Yeah, man. All right, jump into the next thing here. Ethereum Foundation announces major restructuring. So this is the Ethereum Foundation rebranding its protocol R&D team as Protocol, with focus on scaling L1, scaling blobs, and improving UX. So Protocol is the new name of the Ethereum Foundation's internal protocol R&D team. So this is just one portion of Ethereum's foundation, which is now becoming Protocol, but it's really pushing. It's breaking away from the Ethereum Foundation, because a lot of people are saying that, Ethereum Foundation, they're not doing anything. They're lazy. This team of guys are just like, no, screw that. We are in this to win this. We're going to be pushing this forward, and we want the credit for it. So we're going to break off a little bit. So it does feel like they are breaking away from the Ethereum Foundation, but still keeping the, because the Ethereum Foundation is heavily funded from ETH whales. So they definitely want to keep the funding, but they also want to do their own thing. I thought this was pretty interesting.
I like it. ETH needs a shakeup. Their foundation probably needs a shakeup too. Just rebranding to this, I think is smart. And it feels like a little bit like a fresh start.
Yeah, 100%. They have a new logo as well. Just trying to find it here. But yeah, it's basically the ETH logo. Here it is. This is their new logo. This is like the foundation's new logo. So
Protocol.
Yeah, it's Protocol.
I hate that. I was like, you changed the name, but just the logo. They should have did something else with that, but it's all good.
Well, ETH will still be that silver. This is just the Protocol's logo. Yeah, the foundation's logo. But yeah, moving along. FTX customers have received their funds via Kraken as part of the phase 2 of the $5 billion distribution plan. So if they got it, bro. And I remember on Friday we were talking about this. We're like,
Hey,
you,
well,
you
yeah.
basically said, dude, this is a big nothing burger again. And I'm just like, maybe it goes into ETH, and it doesn't. I mean, it does look like it. Some of it did, because you are seeing ETH really pull up against Bitcoin here.
Yeah.
So it's backed up to 630. I mean, before this launch, it was like 24, 25. So it is up a little bit, but I thought, a lot more of that money would come in. It doesn't seem like these investors. I mean, they might just like, I want my money, right? So they're not trying to get risky yet, but they might be looking for opportunities.
Yeah. Look, it's the perfect opportunity, right, to get things bullish and get ETH going again and get some of these alts revved up.
Yeah, man, 100%. All right, quick CryptoQuant analysts suggest that while altcoins have underperformed in the current cycle, a significant rally may still be on the horizon. Upon a decrease in Bitcoin's market dominance, analysts believe that if Bitcoin dominance decreases, capital may rotate into altcoins, leading of substantial gains. So you're actually seeing this in the ETF world. You're seeing BlackRock sell down massive amounts of Bitcoin, and actually withdraw Ethereum. So it's happening already in TradFi, and people are CryptoQuant, for instance, is one of the places predicting that this is going to happen in crypto as well. Do you think this happens in a rapid move, or do you think this is something that takes place over time?
Well, I think it happens. It's going to be a jolt. I think it's
Yeah.
going to be a jolt, but like the mid caps and micros will take time for people to kind of figure out what's hot in those sectors. But I think the majors happens with a jolt, and you're like, finally, Ethereum's got its vibe back and energy and stuff like that, and then you'll start to see ADA pump, and you'll start to see your favorite, the XRP pump and stuff like that. And then I think the mid caps and some of those they'll pump like the big ones, dog with hat, fart coin. We're about to check on him. He's the biggest indicator of all. I say he. I don't know. It might be a she. We don't know. But
girls don't fart, bro. That's what I was told my whole life. But
no, just kidding. but what I was gonna say is that I do think those micros and mids that we saw explode in 2021, they'll happen. You just gotta kind of sniff those out. No pun intended.
Yeah.
But you gotta sniff 100%. Those out there.
And this has been alt season, right? So as you can see, Bitcoin usually takes place here, and right here it kind of kicked off all season. On the Bitcoin price action, you're kind of seeing this was back in 2017. Same thing happened over here. Bitcoin got to this point, and then alt season happened. You saw that basically the dominance just kind of drop, and then same thing over here. You're kind of seeing again. Dominance is potentially gonna be dropping here. So, and this is Bitcoin realized cap, UTXO age band. So it's basically signaling again a new alt season. What do you think?
Yeah, we've been waiting for them, right? We've been waiting for it, and so look. I'm not gonna try to guess when alt season is gonna start, because I've been just wrong every single time, along with everybody else. But it does make sense that this year it's late. It's just like this year is just it's different. This bull market year is different. I don't know how else to say it. The things that are going to stay consistent, in my opinion, is we will have a blow off the top. We just like the timelines are just so different.
Yeah. I don't know if we have a blow off the top. I think we just have a nice grind up, like especially with altcoins too. But I could be wrong. I don't think we're going to get that. Yeah, I think we're going to get like 6 months of just upward momentum instead of 1 month of just insaneness. But we'll see. Let's jump into the crypto fear and greed here. There it is. All right. So last week was a 68. Yesterday was a 57. We're a tiny bit higher than yesterday's 57.
58.
Registering. Yep, right there. Boom. 58. So we're barely moving on this thing.
I'm getting the keywords down, bro. Tiny.
I gotta switch them up, bro.
Tiny, tad bit.
We're sitting at 58. Do you feel 58? Do you feel neutral? I feel like
I think this is a little underwhelming, but it's because of last week. Again, this is the short term kind of, even though last night we kind of bounced back, like what I was saying yesterday during the Bitcoin's price action, I expected something similar to how it played out yesterday. people are just like, I don't believe it.
Yeah.
Well, now they believe it. So today's number is going to be better. It's probably going to get back into the 60s, in my opinion. I don't see a big dump second half of today or anything like that. Maybe some sideways with a little bit of a downtrend possibly, but like it's just more of just swinging, you know, the typical swinging back and forth on the spectrum part of it. And so that's it.
Yeah, man. Let's jump into the Bitcoin price action and find out exactly where we are. This is brought to you by Artura.finance. Artura is building something really special. They're building a leverage trading platform, think Hyperliquid. And you've seen what James Wynn was doing with Hyperliquid, right? He turned 4 million into 100 million and back to zero. So leverage can be your friend and it can also be your enemy, but you got to be smart with it. We're going to be putting out a series kind of walking you through 100% what is leverage, how to your best to use it and use it as a tool and not as an enemy, right? So you got to make sure that you guys are doing the right thing. And Artura is actually going to help us put together an amazing special for you guys. Look out for that in the next coming weeks. But Artura, they're going to be launching on mainnet Hemi probably within probably Q2, Q3. So we're really looking forward to what these guys are building because when you're using Artura.finance, you could be potentially getting yourself an airdrop of the ARA token. But if you're using it on Hemi, potentially going to get another airdrop of the Hemi, right? Double the airdrop, double the fun. And you can just by using Artura, you're going to be able to get that. Obviously, I'm speculating, right? But that's what we do in this space. We speculate. But also, they're going to be launching on Botonix. Botonix is a spider chain. They're saying they're not going to have a token. I don't know about that, right? I think they all get greedy eventually and have a token, but they are incentivizing their chain, which means when you're using Artura.finance on there, you're potentially going to get incentivized by Botonix. So really looking forward to actually earning and learning about leverage and doing some really cool stuff using Artura.finance.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. They have, those two chains that they're going to kick things off with. And look, Arbitrum kind of said that in the beginning too. They said, no token for us. We're going to use ETH for gas, and bam, people got an airdrop out of nowhere. So just, pay attention, pays to pay attention. That's all I'll say. But before we get into Bitcoin price action, guys, we need you to help us out here. Smash the like on the YouTube side, subscribe to our channel, and turn your notifications on so you know when we go live. On the X side, smash that like as well. Share this space, guys. We need to get this information out to the world, onboard the world to our industry. And then on Abstract, if you could share that stream link, we'd greatly appreciate that as well. But let's jump into some Bitcoin price action here, starting off with the hour chart. As you can see, we had some chop yesterday during the show. I think we were right around here. And I said, hey, typically whenever there's a big, trend that just finished and it goes sideways, that means it's about to change direction or sideways and continue down. And I just felt like we were not going to go below that $100,000 mark. Because if it went down from here, we're talking probably going into 95. So it is playing out a little bit like how I expected yesterday. As you can see, we are starting this uptrend here. We'll see how strong this lasts for. If it continues here, expect a little bit sideways and maybe another leg up here. But you can see the leading indicators are showing that we are bullish still here. This is the hour chart. You can see that sell pressure just got obliterated really quickly. The exhaustion came very fast. I mean, you're talking about maybe three levels of decent sell pressure, and then it just start to let up, and then we have jumped right out the gate with some pretty strong buy pressure. And so we are heading our way back up to the overbought territory of stochastic RSI. Let's take a look here at the local support and resistance levels here. All right, so we are sitting right here at 1067. Okay, man, support looks very strong at 1067. We're very lopsided at like way more support versus the resistance. Once we get up here, it does even back out. I mean, it's barely down to the resistance, but like there's just not much volume here, as you can see, right? You're talking about little volume, but once it presses above, let's say I would think that we're going to push above here with just how dominating this is. Then you'll start to see the volume start to tick up a little bit. And if we can't catch any, a lot of bids here, then it'll probably drop back down in here. But we have that support right here. So I think we look pretty good for the rest of today. I would not be shocked if we break into 107 while we are live streaming today, because, the leading indicators plus what I'm seeing here with the support and resistance is supporting that thesis, right? It looks like we just bounced up to this level right here where we are kind of even. We'll see how the bids react here and see if we can get a little bit more buy pressure than what we're seeing, because right now it is kind of an even fight there. Anyhow, so I'm feeling pretty bullish on the next 4 to 8 hours. I'm feeling decent, right? But I wouldn't be shocked if we do get chop, right? Chop kind of in that 106.5, 106 lower 106. Maybe we get to that 107.5 if we can push through this level. See, you can see already those bids are starting to come in for the support side a little bit. I mean, it's not a lot of volume, but it's starting to kind of overtake it a little bit. So this data is going back to 6 p.m. yesterday. So it's kind of localized for the hour chart, I would say. But let's take a look at the 4-hour chart, see if I can get some support with my conviction. And it looks like it does want to lend some support here. And the 4-hour chart is looking pretty good. It looks really good, to be honest, if you want me to be honest with you, which I am always 100,000% honest with you guys. I try to be. Anyways, you can see here the leading indicators are just like the MACD looks really good here. You can see the leading indicator line as well, kind of pointing towards that north direction. Man, we have been in the overbought territory for a minute, though. Since Saturday on the 4-hour, but again, that's because a lot of the shorter time frame swings are more to the upside, and every time it kind of pulls back, it pulls back up, and that's what brings that 4-hour back out from the dead. Because there's a couple of times where there was some exhaustion points here, and then we pull back up, as you can see, the darker green, and right now this is starting to grow up here. So completely would not be surprised we get to 107 during this live stream. But yeah, looking good. If this plays out, the 1-hour chart, we get a good second half of today. Now, like I said chop. I'm feeling a little bit of an uptrend probably for the next 4 to 8 hours. But if that happens, that doesn't mean the second half of today is going to be like perfect. So keep your eye on how Bitcoin plays out for the second half. So let's say we get to 105.5, we might kind of range back and forth the second half. And then the 4-hour chart will kind of be still up in this higher part of the stochastic RSI, but not necessarily like pointing straight up, right? So it's kind of, you got to play it based on the smaller time frames. But the 4-hour chart's definitely giving support to the 1-hour. And so we are looking good there. All right, let's take a look at the weekly. The weekly looks good. We have made a little bit of a comeback here. As you remember yesterday when we did the price action, this was a red candle. Now, I was a little bit worried because that was a little bit shorter here on this MACD, but not too worried. You can see that it is a lighter green, right? It's almost that white color, meaning it shows a little bit of exhaustion probably coming from the previous week here. See how the rest of this week plays out, right? So if we can end the week above in a green candle, I think that we get that dark green back. But even if it stays light green, that doesn't mean next week won't be a dark green candle. You could see, it did kind of stay light here, but it's turned back and forth in a couple of different, time frames before, right? So yeah, I think we look good here. We look, we just need to keep this positive price action momentum, stay in the green, not go back to a red candle. But even if we do kind of chop a little back and forth, let's say tomorrow's red, doesn't mean that we're not going to end the week green, but this is definitely a good bounce back from yesterday. The Bollinger Bands, they're a little bit widened here, and this from this run up here, right? So it's not really showing necessarily like a volatile move coming up. That's usually happens whenever it tightens here. So I'd like to see a little bit of chop happening up here, really, and then get this a little bit tighter. And then we'll see, that's why I think maybe the next 2 weeks could be choppy, which I'm fine, getting back ranging from 111 to 107, 106. That's fine because that will tighten this band up a bit. And then we can have that kickoff for, possibly like next week or the week after, right? So, all right. So that's what Bitcoin looks like on all 3 time frames. Let's take a look at the others chart. Others chart is everything besides Bitcoin and the top 10. So no Ethereum, no Bitcoin, no XRP, Doge, all those, right, that are in the top 10. I think those are in there. They don't count stable coins, though. So this is a good little bounce back from yesterday. You can see that, like, I know that this is the weekly. So when I say yesterday, it was red, right? So it's going to show the progress throughout the week as well. So this looks okay. It looks like this is starting to tighten up, though. You see this kind of coming in here. So yeah, I like this, right? I like this because, especially if Ethereum starts to show a little bit of, energy, then we could see this kind of tighten up here. And then if Ethereum gets to 3K, 4K, and then we'll see what happens, right? But yeah, so I think the others chart looks pretty decent here. It's really there's 2 different factors here. Bitcoin can pull it up slowly because Ethereum will follow Bitcoin, and then the others will follow Ethereum, or Ethereum chops, and then Bitcoin chops, and Ethereum says, okay, I'm done sticking to your butt. I'm going to go and do my own thing here. That will bring this up, because then, the alt market will say, okay, shoot, this might be alt season. And that's the feeling that people will get. So I think we look fine. Let's kind of keep an eye on Ethereum and also Bitcoin to see how the chart will go for the rest of this week. And hopefully we end the week with a green candle on Sunday. Taking a look at the crypto bubbles on the daily, looks great. This is the top 100. The only one that is negative that's really sticking out. This is a pretty bad one. So sorry to you guys. That
was up a lot over the last 2 days. The only one was green.
It's down 21% now. Monero's down 4.3%. I don't know who trades that, where I guess Kraken you can. Tau is down 2.3%. Oh my God, Flare. Remember Flare? That's hilarious. XRP. They're down 2.8%. Well, not anymore. They decoupled after XRP was going through that whole thing, and they was like, we're going to do our own thing. And then you have Crow down 0.6%. Everything else looking really green. Pepe up 9%. Dog Whiff Hat up 21.1%. Where's Fart Coin at? Where's that?
Top right.
Smelly Fart Coin.
Over left.
Oh, okay. Up 8.1%. All is good in the world. Hyperliquid up.
Bullish.
Yep. Hyperliquid up 13.9%. Radium up 7.6%. Aave up 6.7%. Pancake Swap Cake up 2.7%. Trump up 1.7%. I mean, this is bullish right here.
Yeah.
This is bullish here, guys. You're seeing a lot of these tokens that kind of have been leading the way, the fart coins, the hyperliquids, the ones that have been, kind of hot coins this cycle, starting to really get back in the green, and typically others follow. So that is what we're seeing there. Let's take a look at our Dog.
Athena got listed on Coinbase today. That's why it's up 10%. Yeah.
Okay.
Huge day for Athena.
That definitely makes sense there.
Token. Yeah.
All right, let's see where our Dog is at. He's better be in the green, and I can't find him. He's usually down here.
He's right there. Middle right.
Up 5.6%. So shout out to you guys that are in the dog community. Mog up 15.7%. Maple, I remember today, 12.5%. Peanut, our guy Peanut, RIP Peanut, up 11.9%. 1 inch up 4.3%, and Barra up 7.5%. ApeCoin up 5.7%. But yeah, I mean, if there's any that you guys want us to check, just let us know in the chat. But that is looking pretty darn good for Bitcoin in the alt market, man.
It's exciting, dude. It's exciting. That the 4-hour chart that you showed in the very beginning, I want to jump in there and be like, holy shit, it looks so bullish on the 4-hour.
And it gives that conviction to the 1 hour, right? So
yeah, 100%. Let's jump into the roll call here. Dude, the roll call, I mean, is absolutely insane today. So congratulations, Lackey Lukey. You have your 21st win of the year. But let me show this, dude. Look, all right. So this week, well, not this week totally, but Danny Boy won on Friday, his 24th win of the year. Lackey Webdro had his 21st win yesterday, and Lackey Lukey has his 21st win. So these guys are not only 75% of all the wins, but on top of that, they are actually so close, dude. This is a war right now. Danny Boy, Webdro, and Lackey Lukey, man. Shout out to you guys, man. Absolutely amazing. This is awesome to see. It is a 3-man race. The next person in there would have to be ASAP Benji. I think Benji has 11 wins. So Benji still has an opportunity, though. He's only 10 wins behind Lackey Lukey and Webdro, and 13 wins behind Danny Boy. But absolutely amazing, guys. Thank you for participating every single day. But today, I got to give my, Lackey Lukey, man, gets the props today. So shout out to you, my friend. You have your 21st win of the year right there with Webdro and Danny Boy. Congrats to you, man. But let's continue this roll call. We have Tim Baker making roll call every day again. Shout out to Tim Bakes, man. Appreciate you, my friend. Vibe Code is here. Shout out to you, my friend. And then we have Mr. Hanky, the Christmas Poo, my guy with his Billy Cat. Mats is here, followed by Webdro hops in. He's a nice Lucky Lukey. Now we're tied for second. Yes, you guys are tied for second. PJNZ is here. He said usual suspects here already. Yeah, man. I love it, guys. You guys are absolutely amazing. Nighthawk UXL says GM. Ugh, still hungover from Vegas. Vegas was like Friday, bro. But I'm sure as you get older,
Y'all must have went hard.
I don't drink, but I remember that was like one of the reasons why I stopped drinking was just this fucking hangovers, man.
Yeah, they're bad.
Yeah, shout out the Glass Hopper. He says Clan Wars today. No, man, we're not. It's going to be a few weeks. We're waiting for some updates. So these guys been working hard on Bitcoin Derby and stuff, and maybe have been neglecting the Clan Wars a little bit. But now they're going to start hopping onto it and really kind of revamping that and pushing more updates and stuff like that. So definitely looking forward to when that comes. But when it does come back, man, I promise you consistency. If not, then we're going to stop. But we need consistency. We need to make sure that is priority for sure. I mean, I don't know. I wish they would kind of make that a priority over everything else, but that's just my opinion. Hillbilly says GM for the PA Wild. Shout out to you, my friend. Dumbo says looking forward to the show today. Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Dumbo. He says following my comment on Ghosty yesterday, I think you should have them on Staking is Live. I know a lot of the community members are also SPKY holders.
Spooky.
And would be interested in an update. So I mean, we're gonna have Benny potentially on a pre-recorded video next week. I'm looking forward to that, and we'll ask him about Ghosty and kind of see if they're still building for Tap or not. And I mean, we would love to have these guys on, but it just seems like they really disappeared. I mean, I was looking at their Twitter last week, and there was barely any comment. Yeah, Ghosty ghosted their Twitter.
No,
maybe they're still building. I don't know, but it seems like the spooky conversion to Tap might have been a mistake. I don't know. And then they're building on Solana, and then there was a project that kind of reminded us of Ghosty that launched on Solana. So we were thinking that potentially that was them, but we don't know for sure. And then, I mean, we'd be down, but it seems these guys are.
I think Benny being on is going to be a good sentiment indicator because, like, when we ask him about Ghosty, his answer, just pay attention to that. We don't know nothing, but
pay attention. Yeah, exactly, dude. Pay attention to the wording. The voice, right? You got to be like a detective on this stuff. You got to really, you know what I mean? And if you guys are here and you put something in the chat or put something in the comments, I guess it would be pre-recorded, so maybe not. But yeah, I guess you can't do that. Bitcoin is Truth is here. Spindrift is here. Satoshi Nakamoto, Chips and Dip, and we got Vader Time. Mats is here. Shout out to Mats. Spindrift says Node Monkeys or Puppets. If you got to pick one, which one you picking?
Short-term puppets, long-term node monks.
Let's go. Actually, that's a perfect answer, honestly. Mats is here. Shout out to Mats. And then we have Kim Sern Hung sitting here, and he's pumping a shitcoin. Shout out to you, my friend. SBet going to 1K. 1K? What? Oh, I hope you're not meaning market cap.
I don't know what. No, I think he's talking about price. No way he's talking about market cap.
Gene Valjean is here. They say, has Bitcoin already topped for the moment? It's just a huge resistance trend line. Would be healthy to retrace the summer. Okay, we read this already.
We're not at retracement yet, in my opinion. No. I think that's at the 130 level.
Yeah, or 250. We'll see. Choda, shout out to Choda Satoshi, my guy. I really appreciate you here every single day. Then we have PJ and Z. What a peanut butter jelly time. Mempool Punk is here, followed by Bitmap Capital. Mark says hit that like button. Yes, guys.
Yes.
I'm only seeing 11 likes, guys. Come on. I see a whole bunch more people than 11 in here. So if you guys wouldn't mind smashing that for us. I don't know if it helps. I think it helps. I'm told it helps, but that would be really nice of you to do that for us. Ordinal Sweets is here. Shout out to Ordinal Sweets. Justin is here. Shout out to Justin, man. I appreciate you being here, man. A lot, my guy. And then Dumbo says their Twitter account was hacked. They have a new one. That actually makes sense. That makes sense. Okay. Well, that makes me a little bit better. I actually had no idea that happened.
Yeah.
So, why don't people have two-factor on? Stop getting your Twitter, guys. If you have an X account, two-factor that shit. Like I have my account, Shizzy account, two-factored. We have the OnChain Revolution account, two-factor. Two-factor your Twitter, guys, please. All right, and that is your roll call for today. All right. It does look like I have a couple more things to get into, but we get into this first. So Robinhood has completed its acquisition of Bitstamp. bringing on a licensed global exchange with retail and institutional users across EU, UK, US, and Asia. So Robinhood is getting deeper into crypto right now with the acquisition of Bitstamp. They're going to be adding a ton of crypto, not to Robinhood, and this is all going to be using the Bitstamp backend. How do you feel about Robinhood now? Really kind of maybe competing with Coinbase here.
I think that's premature to say, but I think it's a first.
Bitstamp, they're huge.
Yeah, it's a first
They're
big
top 10
move.
exchange.
It's a big first move. So, like, this is something that's gives them the ability just to have a lot more, custody, right? I mean, that's how centralized exchanges work. But like, it's more about like, customers, right? So they're acquiring their customers, but also, Bitstamp wasn't a big U.S. Centralized exchange though, right? But now it can be through them, through Robinhood's, because they needed the infrastructure for it, and this does that. But I wonder if they're kind of working on Rune's infrastructure too, because like Robinhood was one of the first to bring on Doge to really get that going. I wonder if they could be a part of the dog movement as well. I'm sure that they were pitched.
Is dog on Bitstamp?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. I just haven't heard much about Bitstamp this cycle. You know what I mean? Like usually, like you'll see like announcements and stuff from like Bybit and all these. I haven't seen much from Bitstamp, and I think it's probably because like they're under Robinhood now, and so they're trying to figure out how that marketing is going to work. Because obviously it's going to be rebranded or some sort of way.
Yeah. Rumor has it it's just all going to be draped over the Robinhood, and Bitstamp's just going to be the back end for a lot of the trading. Robinhood's going to jump to more of a traditional style exchange, what we're normally seeing. Right now, if you go buy, something on Robinhood, it's just buy Doge. But if you go to buy that same coin on like Binance, you'll see a pairing with like USDC or USDT. And I think you're going to start seeing that with Robinhood as well.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
All right. Let's see. Okay. So Bitcoin treasury firm. I love how they're called Bitcoin treasury firm Metaplanet. So they weren't originally a Bitcoin treasury firm, but they are now. They become Japan's #1 stock by trading volume for the first time ever. So they are #1 stock. Insane. That Metaplanet, a Bitcoin treasury company, which is now, I guess, a thing thanks to the MicroStrategy. But yeah, this is huge, and huge for Japan and huge for Metaplanet.
The playbook, right? The playbook is playing out.
Yeah.
So I mean, if GameStop can get their stuff together, maybe they could be, a leading treasury firm now, from games to Bitcoin treasury firm. Sounds like a good upgrade to me.
100%. Bank of America warns the U.S. may continue to decline this summer amid trade tensions and high debt, potentially boosting assets like gold and Bitcoin. This is Bank of America coming out and saying, get into hard money, gold and Bitcoin. But the only thing that I kind of scares me a little bit, though, is, Bitcoin being that hard asset, nothing else really being, in crypto being a hard asset like that. So this is bullish for Bitcoin, but not so much for some of the alts, right?
Well, I don't know. I wouldn't say that, because Ethereum is starting to get acquired by entities pretty heavily. And so I think if they, I think they're going to look at Ethereum as the silver, type of situation. Sorry, Litecoin, you just never fulfilled your destiny with that. I mean, look, they still have a good market cap, but maybe they can do some things in the off season coming up. But like, let's be real, like Ethereum is that silver, and I think that there's going to be a lot of people that or a lot of entities that look at that as such, right? They probably won't pay as much attention to it until it does have its rise up again, right? Because right now it's kind of like that one asset that's like just kind of not so attractive, but then the OGs know what's about to happen, most likely. And I think like these entities, these financial institutions and stuff, they know because they pay for research, right? So they're like, okay, look, this is one to get into that's safe, and this is the safe. So obviously Bitcoin's the most safe, but I think that this opens the door for some of those other 2, 3, 4, 5 kind of tokens that are behind Bitcoin.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you hit it on the money there. I think, when Bitcoin flies, that's the green light for a lot of these crypto assets, right? Bitcoin on the moves. But All right, guys, it is Tuesday at 12 o'clock, and every Tuesday at 12 o'clock, we have our good friends over at Artura on. We talk about these guys every day with the Bitcoin price action. We talk about Hemi every day. These guys are going to be, they're going to be on Hemi. They're also going to be on Botonics. Really looking forward to these guys launching, and we are lucky enough to have two of the core contributors joining us here every single Tuesday. Let's bring them up right now. Murion, Adian, what's up, guys?
How's it going, guys?
It's going well. It's going well. You know, a lot of people panicked last week when you guys were partying in Vegas, and I guess the second half of it. And it looks like, you know, Bitcoin has bounced back. Sentiment is kind of coming back slowly, but let's kind of kick things off here a bit about, you know, what was your experience in Vegas? I know maybe both of you guys didn't go, if any of you did, or maybe you got some team members that went and gave you some feedback. But Aiden, let's kick it off with you. How was Vegas? What was that like?
Yeah, I was in Vegas. It was really like very bullish to see everybody, you know, super excited to be a part of Bitcoin and building on there. I think there's like some, you know, there's like some real projects that are, you know, I think doing some pretty like revolutionary stuff in the space. You know, obviously it's like these L2s that, you know, we're going to be launching on are, you know, super excited to have them and, you know, being able to, you know, generate yield on Bitcoin and, you know, all these like projects, I think like whether it's the degen ones, like something like us, the pump funds, or some like yield generating ones. Everyone's I think just ready to finally start like building, and there's tons of money coming over. There's like all sorts of people in the Bitcoin space that, you know, you meet people that are just holders. There's, you know, builders. There's people from TradFi. So I think all eyes are really looking at Bitcoin, and, you know, I think Vegas really showed that to me personally.
Yeah, man. Like, how was the energy there? I'm just curious. I remember in Nashville, the energy was there, but it wasn't anything to like I went home, I was like, damn, I don't know if I'm still bullish, but how are you feeling about the energy that was happening in Vegas?
Yeah, I think it was all just in like a really good place. So I was at Nashville as well. And it felt like, you know, in Nashville was like, you know, I think people were like pretty excited, but like there's still sort of a bit of uncertainty kind of in the space. I think in Vegas, everybody was just like super bullish and about like all the new advancements that are coming out. All like the nation states, the institutional investors, like more people are buying Bitcoin. And I mean, I think that's being reflected in the price as well. I mean, sitting at like a pretty clean like 105K. So I think like overall, like, you know, I would remain generally optimistic going into the summer, just based on, you know, just talking with people.
Love it. Amen.
Yeah, you know, that's how we pretty much felt after we talked to a lot of our partners, you guys, and other partners as well, and just feedback from just friends that went, is that the energy was really good. Stable coins was a big point of topic there, which is bullish for DeFi, for projects like yourselves and stuff like that. But the curse happened to hit again, though. You know, the Bitcoin conference seems to want to bring Bitcoin's price down, and I was skeptical this year. I said this year I think it's different, man. I don't think we, you know, have that sell and may go away, and I think the conference doesn't bring the price down, but it did, and people panicked a little bit. So Murion, my question for you is, you know, for the first quarter you were really hesitant to get, you know, commit to being bullish, but then I feel like the last couple times we talked to you, you feel like, okay, the time is now to where things are loosening up. Do you still feel that way?
Yeah, but this like pullback was expected because monthly close was not pretty strong. We got a rejection from the previous all-time highs. We just closed like a sweep, so probably that's what resulted in a pullback. But on a weekly and a daily, we are pretty bullish right now. On a daily, we are disrespecting the daily bearish levels, daily FEG. So I'm pretty confident after today's daily close that we could see 110K again. That's a swing high, and there should be stop hunts on that.
Yeah, definitely see that on the daily chart there.
Yeah.
So you said 110. You're not saying 112, which is the all-time high. Is there a reason for that? Do you think we kind of stall out up there?
No, because this is a low-hanging fruit, and like it should be an easy target to hit step by step. 110K should be like the first draw on liquidity.
So the M2 money supply is, you know, obviously a growing thing, and this chart's been following this pretty closely. I'm curious of what you're thinking. Are you thinking, can we continue this? Can we get to that 190 by September, or do you think that this is going to eventually break and no longer a chart that we can use?
We'll see. The institutions are here bidding like never before. So mass adoption is coming. People are more confident in Bitcoin because the government now is in the Bitcoin as well. So we can potentially see those prices.
Yeah.
So you're saying 190 by September? That's
I'm
something.
not telling any numbers. I'm just
I like Murion, man. He's smart. He's not like us. We commit to the numbers. He's like, I'm not gonna do that.
yeah, because I don't know how can you predict the exact number? Just
because we have a magic ball. You didn't know?
yeah.
No,
I see. Yeah.
No,
Step by
but I
step.
think you're right. You know, I even kind of said today on the price action segment that, you know, I wouldn't be shocked if we, you know, swing back to, you know, our high is like that 111.5, almost 112. But I don't expect just to run past that like very quickly. I like having a swing back to like the 109, 110, and then swinging back again. These are more like scalping opportunities because like we have so much time left, even on the M2 supply chart, right? And we got to remember this is a business by the centralized exchanges, and when people get greedy, they are going to liquidate, hunt you, right? And so with that being said, like I am still feeling the energy is still like a bullish sentiment, because if we chop back and forth between like let's say 111 to 106 for the next week and a half, 2 weeks, that doesn't mean that we don't explode on week 3 to a new all-time high towards the end of June, correct?
Yeah. I will also follow the Bitcoin dominance chart because it's pretty important for the altcoins, and we can also track the strength of the Bitcoin.
For sure.
Well, speaking of dominance, I kind of want to get your opinion on that as well. So right now we're about 64. We're at like a new cycle high. I think we almost hit 65, or we might have actually hit it. But what do you think of our dominance here? Do you think potentially Bitcoin maybe goes to 66, 67, or do you think we kind of fall back down a little bit and start to go below?
Honestly, I can see that we go to the 65.4 level, but invalidation will be for me if we get some pretty strong displacements below. So for now, the chart is on the monthly and weekly telling me that it's like really easily achievable, which means that we could hit those big numbers on the Bitcoin.
Yeah. So you're saying that you feel like we're at that 64 point mark on the weekly, and you're saying that you think we're going to hit a lower leg soon? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, or we can sweep just this buy side liquidity, swing high.
Yeah, I mean, look at this though. I mean, I know that leading indicators are very, just, the high level tools. They're not anything that's super in depth or anything, but it kind of shows you exhaustion is what I use them for, right? And it looks like the exhaustion is coming to a close for the upside. You can see that on the MACD on the weekly right here, and the larger time frames that you work with, the more, in my opinion, that these indicators mean a little bit more, because now you're talking about like if there's a green candle on the MACD, it took an entire week for that green candle to form, right? And so meaning that like this could fall perfectly in line with what Murion is saying here, right? I mean, look at this. This looks exhausted. The leading MACD line looks like it wants to turn down a little bit. We look like we're kind of heading towards like the oversold territory. So, we could see something like this. Now, what's the percentage that you feel like would trigger alt season? Are we talking about like the typical 40%, high 30%, or do you think this year, because Bitcoin's so strong with institutions, we might see something like low 50%, high 40% that could trigger it?
Well, at 40%, alt season's over, right? I think that's a huge, massive gain, the alts, right? So
what do you think, Murion?
Alts are starting to pump whenever the Bitcoin dominance starts to drop. So maybe like you, Shizzy, said, I'm with that.
40% or 50% kind of run. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So Benjamin Cohen, who is the Bitcoin dominance guru, right? He's been saying that, we'll never see below 40% ever again. That's kind of what he's at. But he is saying that 45 to 40 is possible for this cycle. So
gotcha.
But yeah,
Yeah.
Aiden, I'm curious if you are keeping touch on the timeline here. There's a man named James Wynn who's been wrecking everyone's timeline because he's been going heavy with leverage. He took $4 million and turned it into 100 million, and then a week later took it to zero. I'm curious your opinion on this, being someone who is helping contribute to a leverage trading platform. What do you think about this?
Oh, I was in Vegas, so I didn't have too much time to do a deep dive into his strategy. But I'm catching up still. I would love to see like exactly what strategy quote unquote prompted that.
Yeah, it sounds like a social hack strategy, to be honest. Because at some point you gotta believe that the guy is putting a target on himself intentionally, right? So it's more of like. From what I heard when he first opened the leverage long back last year, his follower count was 4,000 or something like that, and up to today he has 200,000 plus. So the thing about me is, okay, like I think the guy's absolutely crazy going from 4 million to 100 million in terms of $96 million profit on the P&L without taking anything off the table. Number one. Number two, he didn't really make the money. It's on paper, but did he pay $96 million? Because he obviously lost all that, right? For 196,000 followers, and is it worth it? I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know. I would take the profit.
Yeah,
me personally.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting to see though.
He's at 333. So
okay,
he's growing every single day.
I'd still take the profit.
Well, see, that's the thing here is a lot of people are saying about this guy. So he put $4 million in, right? So technically, everything he's done, let's just say he doesn't care. He doesn't care what happens. It goes down, it goes up, doesn't matter to him. He paid $4 million to have over, 250,000 followers in a matter of 2 weeks. So yeah, you could say he went to 100 million and you shouldn't take profit, but at the same time, he gained so much. Like he's going to make more off this than the $4 million that he potentially lost.
You're telling me that with like $96 million, like he couldn't figure out a way to get that many followers, even genuinely or organically working with like gurus that are like, you know what I mean? I'm with Aiden on this. I don't know, Aiden, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like, it's the, crypto Twitter. So take everything you see with like a grain of salt at the end of the day. I'd probably don't trust just like pictures or anything like that. Like, there's always hidden agendas and things below. But I mean, it was a wild ride to witness, at least just like seeing his P&L chart or whatever. So
yeah,
it's entertainment.
For sure. Entertainment, and that's what crypto Twitter seems to be about a lot these days. But Murion, so if you were his trading coach, would you have pulled out all of your hair?
Yeah, that's the I don't know what to say.
That was a perfect response right there.
Yeah, that's the gambling for me.
Yeah.
So you're telling me not to put 4 million in and take 40x leverage against it, right?
I mean, like you can't do that. Like it's unacceptable. That's pure gambling.
I think the unacceptable part is not taking profit.
Yeah, like he could retire with 100 million, right? He could buy a bunch of real estate and just sipping cocktails on the beach and chilling. But he's here for entertainment and gambling, which is not good for his mind.
Yeah. 4 years ago, he was a broke trader. He put $250 into Pepe and turned that into 70-something million dollars.
Yep.
So he's definitely a gambler, because if it's at 3 million and you don't pull your $250 out of it, right? Like, so he let it ride. I mean, that's something I couldn't do personally. If I put $250 in it with 10K, I'm pulling that out. I'm not riding it.
That's great. That's great. You have to master yourself and your emotions, right?
But do you know how many people are listening right now and they're like, so you're telling me there's a chance? The old Dumb and Dumber scene there.
Yeah.
You should have seen the Bitcoiners in Vegas. So they will absolutely let it ride.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, true. That is true. I mean, people bought Bitcoin at pennies and held it to 100K, right? So I mean,
agreed.
Yeah, I think Aiden's talking about probably on the tables
there.
there.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
I got you. How was that? How was the gambling there?
Any big winnings?
I won 200 out of 20. So
Let's go.
I did one trade and then I pulled out, so to speak.
20x,
So
baby.
I took profit.
He's like at the blackjack table. He goes, "How much is it to make a trade?" And they're like, "What?"
Yeah.
That's not how it works. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, man, this has been great, guys. Is there any updates for Artura that we can talk about? Anything happening in the?
Well, I think yeah, we officially announced our token ARA. So more news to come on and how to earn that. So definitely be on the lookout. Big news continually dropping. Also, I think if we didn't mention last week, we do have an Artura Core Trader program where if you're a trader, we are partnering with you for various rewards and just by educating other users on how to trade and like using the platform and being a part of our events. You can become deeper in our community and benefit as well. So that's also something. Please feel free to reach out to us in our DMs if you're looking to apply to something like that.
Awesome. All right. Before we send you guys off, Murion, do we get to 120 by mid-June?
50-50.
Okay, perfect. That's a perfect Murion answer there. But we appreciate you both. Shizzy, did you have anything else?
No, that's it.
Yeah, we appreciate you both. Every Tuesday, guys, you can only find it on OnChain Revolution. We bring the founders and the teams. This is not necessarily the founders, but the team, the contributors to you guys, which is awesome. And so appreciate you, Aiden and Murion. And until next week, we will talk to you guys soon.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Right.
See you.
See you guys. See you next week. Absolutely amazing, man. I love that segment. It's so cool to talk to these guys, man. Just Murion and Aiden, and it's great. It's fun. It's like hanging around with your boys, man. It's really fun.
Yeah, and I always like to push the envelope with Murion because I know he doesn't like to give like solid number forecast predictions, but it's fun, The guy's obviously really good at being able to get into setups, and he's conservative in terms of his bankroll management and stuff like that. So it's always good to hear that type of perspective and stuff, especially whenever you're thinking about getting into leverage, because that whole tutorial or tips from traders series that we did, go back and watch some of those videos, guys. There's some really talented traders in there. You can kind of pick their brains a bit, and then I'm sure they're going to have a like some sort of program as well that maybe you guys can join with their Discord. Head over to their Discord and really dive in and learn about them.
100%, man. I agree. I have a few more topics if that's cool. So I have Marathon Digital mined 950 Bitcoin in May, up 35%, and now holds 49,179 tokens. So, dude, I am so bullish on Mara. Like, seriously, man, I think this is going to be the company that really kind of explodes. I think they're going to get into a lot of different areas. I'm hoping one of their possible areas they get into is the Bitcoin layer 1 assets, meaning runes and ordinals and stuff like that. But dude, I am so bullish on Mara.
They seem to be making a lot of headlines, and they're a public company, but their board seems to be on the same page as the CEO or the founders and all that the executives to hey, let's take advantage as much as we can of the cycle and of Bitcoin in general being mass adopted. Look, this is not just a cycle thing anymore for miners. This is institutions are here. This is a number probably going to go up consistently for over a spread of decades now. We're not talking 4-year cycles as much. They'll probably still have those just because I think they're like traditional, but I don't know. Maybe they fade off. We don't know yet. This is so new in terms of like compared to the stock market, that I think launched, I want to say in the early 1800s or something crazy like that, right? And so this is still in its infancy, but you guys are here for it. You're paying attention, so pat yourselves on the back for that, but stay focused. It's not about like, did I make a bunch of money yesterday, or did I make a bunch of money last week, or I missed on the last cycle. This is going to be a consistent thing that's going to be here for decades to come.
100%. Do you think Mara can be one of, when we talk about stocks, right? We talk about Tesla, Amazon, Google, so-and-so, right? The top 5 ones, right? Do you think Mara could be one of the top 5 ones of this generation of tech stocks?
Absolutely. Oh, tech stocks. Yeah. I mean,
It's technically a tech stock, right?
So it's like, I feel like the fintech is going to be where it's like going to be really competing the most with, right? Like you have your fintech companies, the PayPals, these things things, and
Yeah.
but also kind of competing with just tech companies in general too, because it's like finance with a whole new approach to it.
Yeah.
And so I do, I absolutely do, but I can see Tether up there too. You know what I mean?
100%.
If they go public, and I know they're not right now, I don't think they are,
They
but
no.
you know, they might though in the future, because they just have so much asset value.
Yeah.
But maybe it's not smart for them to. I don't know. We'll see.
They would have to get their books in order, but I think they can do it. I think they can do it for sure. Speaking of top tech stocks, this one could be it too. Circle upsizes IPO to 32 million shares, eyeing a 7.2 billion. So originally they're going at a 4 to 5, and 4 to 5 is where Marathon is, right? So they're right there with Marathon. But now they're saying, hey, you know, if BlackRock's coming out and saying they're buying 10% of our IPO, let's jump that price up, right? Because it doesn't matter. BlackRock's going to buy it regardless, and then, you know, on top of potentially XRP and Ripple coming into the market and buying a good portion of it up as well. I mean, dude, it's stupid for them not. I mean, I would shoot for 10.
See, this is the approach that I was talking about. Like, but they started from scratch, right? In terms of saying we want to go the IP. They knew, they had in their mind, we're going public.
Jeremy
we're going
we're
going the IPO route. So although Tether, in my opinion, could probably show more asset value than Circle took that route early, and so I think that gives them a little edge here in terms of like the traditional financial markets, right? But because Tether might have all this asset value, they could probably work their way in or whatever. With that being said, smart move, probably doesn't make Ripple happy. I think Ripple just has to let go at this point, right? Decide what they're going to do with their stable coin or whatever they're going to try to compete in this industry. But this industry is going to be, I think it's going to be very competitive. I think there's going to be opportunity for some smaller stablecoin companies, but like to be a top dog, that's going to be very competitive to be the top 3. And Circle is really preparing themselves for this.
Yeah, 100%. No, I agree. I think this is a $100 billion company in the next 10 years. You agree with that?
Whew. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Like $100 billion.
Yeah.
So what is Nvidia right now? I know obviously they're like almost what are they?
Almost a trillion, right?
No, they're more than that, because they were higher. They're higher than Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Bitcoin's valuation, or the market cap was so I think they were like knocking on 4 at one point when that. So 100 billion is probably nothing. You know, compared to those top dogs,
especially if Tether has $1 trillion in market cap, just in the sense of how many dollars USDC has out there, right? I mean,
that's the difference.
Tether trillion.
Tether different than Circle though, right? Circle's Circle's $100 billion valuation. I don't know how much they have compared to Tether, but both of them though. Both of them. If Tether does go public, then I look. We're going off of some speculation, but one thing that's not speculative is how many bonds they own. That is public knowledge.
How much government debt, for sure. Well, speaking of Tether, XAUTO, an omni-chain version of Tether Gold, debuting on Ton and enabling cross-chain gold transfers via LayerZero's OFT. So Tether not only are into the tokenizing of the dollar, they are also tokenizing gold here. What do you think about this? An omni-chain? I haven't really explored that too much, but it does look like they're actually going to be on Ton. You can buy gold, Tether Gold on Ton.
I mean, this is another example of crazy stuff that they're like just ahead of the curve on, man. You know what I mean? Like I wish I could invest in Tether, but like at this point, I'm sure like the way you could invest is already sky high, right?
Yeah. Sure.
But with that being said, they were never investable, probably on purpose, you know, just because they wanted to stay under the radar, like you said last episode yesterday. Like they weren't probably doing things by the book, like the last.
They're buying yachts, bro.
But like most people like screw up so bad when they do stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like you have the Three Arrows Capital that escaped on a yacht, whatever they were being looked for.
I know.
Right? They're on a yacht somewhere in like South Asia.
Well, Tether was getting ready, bro. They were getting ready. They bought a whole thing, and it was like in Russia or something. They bought the entire lot of yachts.
Who did? Tether?
Tether.
Probably on discount.
No, a huge discount. It was right during like COVID, or the beginning of COVID. So actually huge, but they sold all that now, and they said they can show reserves, but they just haven't. So, but anyway, that is our show for you guys today. 222 people here on YouTube and X, not to mention everyone on Twitch, Rumble, Abstract, and now Kick starting this week. Shout out to every single one of you guys, and not to mention everyone listening on Spotify later. We appreciate every single one of you guys.
Yes, we do. And remember, stay focused. It pays to pay attention. And if you could check out our partners, guys, we would greatly appreciate that, as they are kind of the second half, which allows us to do this every day, which we love to do. Our passion is bring the latest and greatest to you guys. But Sats Terminal is the ultimate aggregator DEX swap for the Bitcoin ecosystem. If you're looking to get some dog, go to satsterminal.com. That's going to give you the most liquid and best pricing there, guys. It's very quick. It's seamless. All you do is connect one of your Bitcoin wallets there, and you can swap for some dog. Also, when you connect your Bitcoin wallet for the first time, you can actually earn 1,000 Amber points. These points are kind of like XP that goes towards something in the future. I hate to say this, but redacted. No, just kidding. I'm not going to go into that. But anyways, alpha stuff that's related to stuff with points and projects. You guys can put 2 and 2 together. You guys are adults. But yeah, so look, their Amber's points program is big. Eventually, you won't be able to earn 1,000 on your first wallet connect, because that's going to go down to 100, right? So you want to take advantage of that. And then they have a referral link to where if you send it to your friend, they connect their wallet for the first time, you get 500 Amber points right now. And then of course you acquire Amber points when you do swaps as well. But look, we're going to have this team on tomorrow for a Sats Terminal segment. They're going to go into some really cool stuff tomorrow, which you can kind of look on the menu there and put 2 and 2 together. But make sure you guys visit satsterminal.com to swap for runes. And they also support Alkanes as well right now. And then BetBTC is the predictions marketplace for the Bitcoin ecosystem. We actually are gathering up some testers. I think we might be maxed out, or we might have a couple more spots left. But
a couple more spots. We have a couple more spots.
Okay, we have a couple more spots left. So if you want to be a tester for their new features, reach out to us. Hit us up on our X account. We'll get you into that group. There's probably maybe 2 to 5 spots left. We'll see. But you can send us a DM that way. But if you're looking to place bets in predictions markets, you can do that there. But also they have their blitz markets, which is a little kind of a little bit of a leverage perps experience. It's not full on. Basically, you just pick up or down based on Bitcoin, Solana, or BNB. You can choose their price. You get 10 minutes to choose if you want it up or down, and an additional 10 minutes to see if you were correct or incorrect there. But yeah, pretty soon you're going to be able to create your own custom markets. This is the part that gets me the most excited, because you can actually earn 1.5% of the total volume. If you have a big following, you have like a betting following, you're good at betting data, all that stuff, you can get your community to place bets in your markets, and you earn 1.5% of the total volume. That's going to be coming very soon. And then also you can refer your friends, the people like that. You get 1% of that. But we're going to get you guys updates very soon, but the team is grinding. They're working hard, man. I feel like this product is going to be awesome. Head over to betbtc.win. You can dive in there and head over to their community Discord and learn more there. And then Emblem Vault is the interoperability tooling for the Bitcoin ecosystem. Very soon, you're going to be able to jump your ordinals from Bitcoin Layer 1 to Abstract to Bitcoin Layer 2 Merlin to Base to Solana. And eventually you're going to be able to use their AI agent Hustle to help you do that, because Hustle is going to have the Bitcoin tech stack eventually integrated with them. But right now you can use Hustle to help you research, trade, do stuff on Solana, which is really cool. So you don't want to trade in Solana, in my opinion, without like an assistant, and that's what Hustle is there for. So head over to the Agent Hustle website. I believe it's what is it?
Agenthustle.ai.
Agenthustle.ai. Right now, there's no charge, but eventually they're going to have a business model surrounding the Tensor token, which is Hustle's token there. But don't forget, they also have a TGE for their Runes TGE in September, which is called the Emblem Founder Vaults Rune. If you head over to OpenSea right now, you can participate in a pre-sale environment. It's an ERC 721, which is an NFT. But then once the TGE comes in September, they will give you guys instructions on how to get those runes into your Bitcoin wallet. Head over to emblem.vision to learn everything about their product suite there. And then Artura Finance, we just talked about these guys. We had them on the show. They are building the perps and leverage decks of the Bitcoin ecosystem. You're going to be able to trade synthetic Doggo to the Moon, $1 billion cat, Ordi, Sats, and eventually tokens that are popular outside the ecosystem, XRP, Tau, Ethereum. let's say you missed, you know, your entry on dog, you can actually, you know, use leverage to try to, you know, take advantage of a booming dog market cap there. But always be responsible. You know, this is for adults, of course, and you can watch some of those videos, the trader tips videos, or join their community. Highly encourage that. They are encouraging education, guys. This is not about like you guys getting wrecked on their platform every day. It's about, you know, them trying to build a community here. And so if you don't want to participate in leverage, you can also just add to their liquidity vaults. That helps the platform as well, and you can earn passively that way. Head over to Artura.finance. Make sure you join their community via their Discord as well. And then Fluid Tokens, they are the UTXO wizard devs, man. They're constantly churning things out every single day, whether it's on Cardano or Bitcoin, but they're on both chains here. And they were the first to offer staking vaults to the Bitcoin layer 1 community. So you know, retail for Bitcoin layer 1 staking vaults didn't exist until Fluid came along here. So if you did stake your dog, go to the Moon tokens, make sure you claim those. The vault is ready for claiming, so claim that. Don't forget that. You get your reward plus your original dog you stake there, and you'll get that back in one transaction. So really exciting. If you want to create a staking vault for your community, head over to their Discord, let them know what community you've established and what collection you have, and they will get you set up with that. On the Cardano side, if you want to participate, they just launched their Aquarium platform 2 weeks ago. You can actually earn Babel fees there. And so really exciting opportunity with that. Last thing on the Bitcoin side, if you want to participate in airdrop, it's free for you guys to use right there. You do pay a small fee, but like it's really efficient in terms of cost, as well as being able to airdrop many addresses. You can use a CSV file, or you can do it manually there. So head over to fluidtokens.com, dive in there, join their community as well. They will guide you to getting either a staking vault set up or answering any questions that you have. And then Tokyo Wallet, they also started off on Cardano, now on Bitcoin as well. Their whole goal is to build the most UI UX friendly multi-chain smart wallet, guys. Right now, if you have an iPhone, head over to Apple Store, or if you have an Android, head over to Google Play. You can download the app and you can swap for runes directly on the app there, or you can swap for Cardano tokens like Snake. It's directly on the app. So on the Bitcoin side, they partnered with actually Sats Terminal to make you guys be able to do this. They do it in the back end, so it's really convenient and user friendly there. There's an alpha section. You'll find yours truly there, and some other alpha channels as well. This team is all about user experience. So give us some feedback. If there's something that you don't like about it or something that you want added, you can let us know. We'll let the team know. They're going to have MasterCard added very soon too. So they're here. They're in it to win it. I'll say that. This team is all about trying to be the one-stop shop, guys. So head over to Tokyo.io to download the wallet and let us know what you think. And then Merlin Chain, uniting Bitcoin strength with the power of AI. Merlin Chain has been doing huge things, being a part of the Raft Bitcoin DAO, being added to Binance Alpha, added to Binance Perps. They've done $1 billion in 24-hour volume. We had Jeff on last Monday, and we have him on every Monday. And so if you want to mess around with their Wizard AI, you can go to their website and click on the AI button there, and then it'll take you to their Wizard AI, which can kind of help you stake and swap and do things like that. But if you want to stake with their proof of stake, you can do that at merlinchain.io and click on stake there. You can earn 15% APR if you just want to do the day-to-day. It does take 7 days to withdraw it though. But if you want to do the 6 months, you can actually earn 45% APR. And that's going to be coming very soon this week. And that one, you can actually withdraw the rewards on the day-to-day basis. So yeah, you have it locked up for 6 months, but you can actually withdraw your rewards every day there. Exciting things coming from this team, guys. Stay tuned. Follow their X account because they're dropping headlines every single day. Head over to merlinchain.io to learn more there. And lastly, our integrated partners in Jungle AI, which is formerly Foxy AI. They have the metaverse on Bitcoin called Bitverse, as well as their first-person shooter game called Cypher Striker. We're not doing it today. We're going to let that team just make sure they kind of upgrade the game, make sure everything is ready to go, and then we'll start to consistently stream that again every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you check them out. And then Ordinal Hive is the aggregator Ordinal marketplace, sort of like what SAS Terminal is doing, but they do it for Ordinals there. And you're also going to be able to find a bunch of amazing trader tools, instant liquidity too. Once you sell your Ordinals, they'll instantly give you the Bitcoin right away. So exciting things over there as well. Make sure you check them out. And thank you guys so much for hanging out with us this entire time. We appreciate you guys so much.
Yep. Great job, man, as always. And if you guys have a few more minutes and wouldn't mind checking out the best website in crypto, that is onchainrevolution.io. Guys, we have some of the best articles dating all the way back to 2023. If you know someone just entering the space, please send them our website. We really feel you can help them get started and caught up to where we are today. If you guys want to read about this amazing new app called Believe, it is on Solana. We have a brand new article up about it. Come check it out. Revolutionizing startup funding on the Solana blockchain. Absolutely huge, guys. Come check out this article. Brand new as of today. Be one of the first people to check out this app over there. And we have articles with ordinals and runes and so much more. Check them all out here. And if you guys need a VPN, I highly recommend NordVPN. It's my personal favorite. I actually have 2 accounts now. Each account gets you about 5 devices all at the same time, right? So you probably only need one, and it's about $3 a month. I think I paid $64 for 2 years. Locked it in, forgot about it. Never again, right? I'll see you in 2 years, which is a very, very long time before I got to pay that $64 again. Highly recommend Nord. You can get month to month. You can get 1 year. It's up to you, but I highly recommend Nord. And when you're going to these websites, you know, I go to a lot of sites, right? I do a lot of testing and stuff like that with my wallets and stuff. I don't want to give them my IP address, which can lead to my home address. I'm a Bitcoiner just like you. I don't want people to know where I live. You know, it's dangerous. You know, you got family, you got kids. You don't want that. Don't do it. Just get a VPN. It's that simple. $64, 2 years, $3 a month, nothing. So definitely check it out. And then check out our store tab here. It'll take you to our Shopify. And then, so you come down here and check out all of our new stuff. I actually added some really cool stuff yesterday. I'm going to be adding some daily stuff. So check it out daily. But I added the Silk Road shirt here. It's actually pretty dope. You can get it pretty much in any color you want. It's all about, what Ross brought to us, 11 years ago, and then Exit the System. Pretty awesome shirt is here. With strategic Bitcoin reserve required. You got the Fed crushing and Bitcoin destroying it. So I'm going to be adding some more and more stuff. This dog shirt, absolutely fire in my opinion. I actually put this on here so I can buy it because I want it here. So check that out. Dog t-shirts. I'm going to be adding a whole bunch more hats, hoodies, and so much more, guys. So check everything out here at onchainrevolution.io. And guys, we are live Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Pacific, and 3 p.m. UTC. Check us out all week, guys. And until tomorrow.
Peace.
OnChain Revolution roll call. Market recap. You're not bullish enough. No. You're not bullish enough. No. Look at the price go. Bitcoin control. Why you still coping? Price action rolling. Don't fall for bear trap. Swapping indexes and putting it up in the sex. I can take profit right now. OnChain is where I be now. You can never look back. They don't want you to know. How did the market react? Fear and greed gotta adapt. Now we bridging the tokens and marching the network right now. You know how crazy we are. Nookies are savages now. They know how crazy we are. Chain abstraction, main attraction. OnChain Revolution.